Welcome to Sports Nights with Jorge, and now here is your host.
SNJ Sports Night with Jorge. Hey guys, I'm glad you guys are in today. I hope you guys had a great Thursday at work, at home, wherever you're at. You're enjoying yourself, guys. It's a beautiful day. Thank God for this day. And tomorrow is Friday. I hope you guys enjoy my picks. So far, I've seen 43 people saw it. I had a couple of comments. Check my picks during the week. Don't forget tonight's Thursday night football. Excuse me. Minnesota versus the Rams. Thursday night football. Enjoy the game. Best of luck. Once again, I'm 64 and 44, I think it is, on my picks. Pretty good season for me so far through 7 weeks. Once again, thank you so much those that have subscribed, the like button, the comments. I thank you so much. And on my shorts. Now, lately on my shorts, because I guess I fat finger it, when I put the names and all that, it's hard to do on a phone because my shorts are done on a phone. And it's kind of hard to put details as you going through, the motions. I apologize for that. I try to get it corrected. I do get a lot of people saying, hey, man, you misspelled the guy name. You misspelled wide receiver. But guess what? I'm human. I make mistakes, guys and girls. But once again, if you see my cover as I open up the show, the program tonight, we are talking about the new quarterback, C.J. Beathard, or Beathard. Played with Jacksonville. As you know, if you have a little bit of background of him, he was drafted 2017. Third round, he was the 104th pick. He's from Iowa, College, Iowa, from 2012 to 2016. In 2021, he played for Jacksonville Jaguars until 23. He hasn't played since. Then he started with the San Francisco 49ers. So he knows a little bit about McDaniel offense. Now, looking at this player they picked in the team, okay, this is Miami, fourth quarterback? Huntley, I know he's hurt. Tua, practice, he's coming back. Of course, waiting for NFL protocol to release the quarterback to be sure that he could play on Sunday. And then we have Skylar Thompson. They came back from an injury. And then we got Boyles. So somebody's going to have to be cut here, or somebody's going to have to be added to the practice squad. So here's a question I want to bring to you guys. Can Miami save the season? Can the Dolphins save the season? Now, I know we got Tua back, but I'm going to go back to the same thing I said earlier through my podcast, through my sports podcast. You got to have a healthy offensive line to protect Tua Tagovailoa. Miami has averaged over 150 yards per game rushing. They got 188 last week against the Colts and lost. And I think they got 180 the following week. So they're a good running team. My thing is, can Tua spark this team? Remember, he hasn't played in a while. He's a little bit rusted. Good news coming out of camp. He's looking great. He's looking good throwing the ball. He's on cue. Very sharp. But see, that's non-contact. I'm not worried about that. Let's just practice. No physical contact. My thing is, we wish him the best. Once again, I'm not going to get into his decision making because that's not for me to judge, not for me to get involved. But my concern right now is, are the Dolphins going to make it? Or they're going to break it? Which one is it? Because I'm going to tell you guys, this is it. The same thing happened to the San Francisco 49ers last year. Your Super Bowl window closed. Either you would have win it all, or it's a new season. And boy, do I feel bad for that team because of so many injuries. My gosh. San Francisco, I mean, they are just bombarded with injuries. Unfortunately, that's sports. It's the NFL. What can you do? Try to save the season. But I'm going to bring something up that I was talking to a couple of my friends, especially at work. Is Tua saving McDaniel's job? Now, I'm not starting any controversy or any rumors. That's my opinion. But I feel that Tua, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to second guess myself. Because I tell you something, they don't win this Sunday against Arizona, I do have a feeling somebody's losing their job. So the pressure is on. Now, we could sit here and say, well, I don't think it's fair because, he signed a contract. Yeah, I understand he signed a contract. They both did, Tua and McDaniels. I mean, Tyreek Hill has not had a 100-yard game since game one against Jacksonville, 130. That's what he had. Waddle has been non-existent. Tight end Sanu, I mean, I think Janu, he's done better than anybody. I mean, he caught, 6, 7 passes or 8 passes for 94 yards. This is going to be a key game for the Miami Dolphins, especially for McDaniels. Either they do it in 2024, or this is it, guys. You can't blame an owner that has spent all that money in that ball club. You really can't, guys. I think about it. I always say something that say, man, here's a guy that built his own stadium. Didn't ask no payers. Hey, man, build a stadium for me. Has bought in plenty of good players in Miami to play. And we're back and forth. Now, listen, the first 2 years, we made the playoffs. The last 2 years, a winning season for McDaniels. But something has to change. And then as fans, we go back to the same old thing. We win, everything's okay, everything's fine. We lose, we start criticizing, which that's part of sports, that's part of sports. That's the reality of sports, People don't look at the consequences. They don't look at maybe at the issues that a team is having, besides injuries, character in the field, the character in the locker room. So many things you have to look, you got to look at before we start, explaining what happened to the Dolphins. I mean, 70 points in 7 games. If they continue like that, they're going to break an NFL record. They won't reach 230 points. Now, we all feel optimistic that Tua's coming back. He's going to give us 30 points. We just don't know that. I always say this. It starts up front. It starts on your actual front line. I'm going to say it plain and simple. You have to protect Tua Tagovailoa. You do not protect Tua Tagovailoa. It's a long season for the Miami Dolphins. They're bringing Huntley. We got excited. Then we start batching the guy. Oh, he doesn't work out. You know why? It's not that he doesn't work out. It's that's not the scheme that he plays. That's not the type of quarterback that McDaniel has. So if you look at it, without Tua, the Miami Dolphins ain't nothing. Because Tua is the one that has the quick release, the slants, the routes, the running backs, the short pass, which I'm tired of McDaniel really, really shooting those little short passes on the sidelines for these running backs and wide receivers to run and catch. Change your game plan, man. Please change it. McDaniel has to bring something new. Let me tell you something. If I see the same thing this Sunday that McDaniel does, and there's no change, I'm gonna say he's gone. I'm sorry. Because I feel that Tua is saving his job. Now, I'm not saying Tua was rushed to come back to play in the NFL. I'm not saying he was rushed because of the concussion and all that. No, he had time to speak to doctors, evaluate, and all that stuff. I understand that. But see, McDaniel cannot take another loss. And neither does the Dolphins can take another loss. An owner cannot come here and say, hey, man, I spent all this money to get all these players in to bring a championship to Miami. Now, yes, I believe in miracles. Things can happen. I'm not saying that it can't. But you got to be real. You got to be realistic. Injury, every NFL team has injuries. I look at the Chiefs, and I say that again, guys. I look at the Chiefs, no running back, no Hollywood Brown. They lost Pacheco, the running back. They're winning. They're undefeated. And now they signed Hopkins on the Tennessee Titans with a trade. Just look at that. Just think about it. It's obvious. As a sport, podcaster, and you hear the media, and you hear, ESPN, you hear different, network, NFL Network, and all that, and they got some insights, and ESPN got some insights and all that, but everybody see things in a different perspective, and that's okay, because remember, we are entitled to our own opinion. What you see, what I see. I'm not here to argue with nobody. I'm not here to compete with nobody. But the way I see the way the Dolphins are being run this year from the last 2 years, nobody put a trust on Tua. Let's go back. We could go back. We had a defensive coach in Flo. That's what Flo used to do. Hey, Brian Flores used to, love defense. Never trusted on Tua. Okay, we closed that chapter. It's closed. We move on. Okay, he finally came up and spoke about the guy. Okay, move on. Now here comes McDaniel. Comes to Miami. McDaniel is who made Tua who he is right now. We can't forget that Tua beat the Georgia Bulldogs in the national championship. So he's not walking out as a loser. He's been a winner. And since he came to the Dolphins, he's been a winning quarterback. And I look at the records since he was drafted to now, and the wins and all that. It's him. He's on top. All these quarterbacks, and you got Burrow. Is he better than Burrow? No. Is he better than the guy from the Chargers? Not really. Is he better than Hurst? No, not really. Better than Love? Maybe not. But guess what? He's doing something good. By the way, it was Justin Herbert I was talking about in San Diego, which is now the LA Chargers. And then all these quarterbacks, they got statistics, but they're not winning. But Tua is a winning quarterback. But the main concern, injury prone. That's our main concern. And I pray for this individual, man. I really do. I pray for him. I know he loves the game of sports. I'm not going to tell you. I look at the media, the way he talked, the way he say things. And the only thing is I disagree with. He doesn't owe anything to the Miami Dolphins. Because if we sit here as fans and we think that Tua owes us something, he needs to come back because he owes Tua, he owes Miami a championship, a Super Bowl. No, man, you can't say that. It's a whole team. It's the whole entire 53-man roster. It's the whole roster that McDaniel has. Now, I'm going to tell you one guy I'm impressed, I haven't talked too much about, is the defensive coordinator, Weaver. Let me tell you something. That guy's going to be a good head coach one day. I know he's a defensive coach for Miami. But I'm going to tell you, the way he runs his defense, man, we're in the top 10, top 4, number 1 in passing. I mean, looking at and those are stats, okay? But I know our record doesn't show for it. We're 2-4. Doesn't show for it. But that defense is amazing. And we got injuries in that defense. But now I look at the offensive side, and I'm going to go back to the offensive side. Where's Waddle? Odell Beckham. What are you sending for? I'm sorry. Tyreek Hill. You know, I said this for a while, long time ago, guys. And I'm not saying this in general because there is players out there that do have this. The pride go over their head. Their ego go over their head. The National Football League was made to be a team sports, not an individual sports person. You know, I look at all these players that had opportunities, and I'm not going to say names because you know who they are. There's a lot of players in the NFL that they were smart enough, and that's the word, smart and wise enough, to don't let their ego and their selfishness take over themselves. They would become Hall of Famers. And you know who I'm talking about. But unfortunately, it's, you know, we're human. We have our ups and downs every day. At work, at home, it happens. See, the word of the NFL, of the player in the NFL, is consistency. You got to be consistent. Yes, you're going to have a bad game. Yes, you're going to have a good game. Okay? You need to produce. But let's be honest. If I'm not producing, somebody else in the lineup is producing. Because all I care is, it's not about George producing. It's all of us winning as a team. Whether you call 50 yards and I call 20 and we won the game, I'm good enough with that. But this game nowadays, guys, is, you know, I look at the 49ers with McCaffrey, let's say the running back. And man, they got great running backs. Yeah, McCaffrey's one of your biggest running back, one of your best you got there. But then you got to, you know, and this is what I said to McDaniel too, and McDaniel and other coaches in the NFL, if your biggest guy that really runs your offense, he's gone because of injury, you got to have a different game plan. You got to change it around, regardless. I mean, I look at Miami right now. I look at their running back position, A-Chain, Wright, Raheem Mostert. I mean, they got great running backs that they can start at any team right now and lead this team and you know, to be successful. But if one goes down, the other one picks the other one. Same thing with wide receivers. I mean, we lost Braxton Berrier, kickoff returner. What do? Well, play it out. Put Malik Washington as your punt returner. And I know we're going to say here, well, he never was a punt returner. It doesn't matter. You need to try something. You need to change something in your team, okay, to build a fire on that team. So everybody, it's excited. It's involved and says, man, we're winning. We're winning as a team. You know, I've seen this with the Dolphins for many years. And we saw it last year, by the way. The defense can only hold so much. But if you got a defense 23, 30 minutes on the field, they're tired. They're exhausted. and your scheme is running the ball, eating the clock, passing short, open up the field. I know that you say, well, George, no, I'm not a genius. I'm not a coach. Okay, but I look at football every day. I look at every team. I look at Pittsburgh. I look at Denver. I look at every team in the National Football League that I have, time to look at. And yes, different schemes, different, attributes, different players, different physical players, strength. But what are you building around your quarterback? What are you building around your team to be successful? What are you bringing into your team? Because if I'm bringing a big name player to my team, that doesn't mean nothing, guys and girls. It's just a player. See, I feel that on my podcast, and not only me, I'm not going to judge anybody because I love a lot of people in the podcast. I hear a lot of the sports podcasters, man, and they got great points. Great information out there. But they see it different like I see it. And some other, and which is normal. They see it this way. And, as Dolphin fans, we are tired of losing. Let's talk about the Jets, another team. I don't blame them either. I don't blame their frustration. I don't blame their character either because, they got Aaron Rodgers, but there we go. The big picture. We got a big quarterback. Now we got Devontae Adams. Wow. Is that going to make you win? No, it's a 53-man roster, guys and girls. It's the entire team. Know how to use them. Okay? Yeah, maybe this receiver is not Waddle. Maybe this receiver is not Tyreek Hill. But he's a freaking receiver. Use him. See what he could do. We can sit here about speed, hand catch, and all that. Man, I was looking at Odell Beckham. There's ball been has thrown to him and he has dropped it. He's human. He could drop it. And I'll be honest with you, when I see Odell Beckham in the Dolphins uniform, it's like this guy got signed for a decoy. Well, that decoy is not. Here's one thing that I discuss with a lot of my friends. And boy, this is a good point. And I want you to understand this as a sports fan. And you guys are going to understand this. And I'm going to leave it to this tonight. How in the world you cover Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Odell Beckham, and the tight end at the same time? Somebody got to be open. Think about that. You know what that's telling me? The coach is not doing his job. It's not the quarterback. You can blame the quarterback whatever you want. I got people saying, well, I see Huntley throwing the ball. What did Huntley throw? Tight end, tight end, tight end, tight end. Last Sunday game against the Colts. Well, he had like 94 yards receiving. But then Boyle comes in the fourth quarter for the injured Huntley, and he finds Tyreek Hill, and he finds Waddle. You wait till the last minute, and that happened? Is that a quarterback issue, or is that a coach issue? Because, guys, somebody has to be open on the field. I'm sorry. There's no way the defense is going to cover all these guys at the same time. And quote me if I'm wrong. Somebody has to be open, regardless. I don't care. Because you still got your running back in the backfield. You got, Wright, A-Chain, Raheem Mostert. You got running backs. So, the excuses, Miami Dolphin fans, has run out of excuses. For McDaniel, unfortunately, this is a game they got to win, guys. They got to win. And for Tua, listen, there's no more that could wish him the best. Stay healthy. Be smart. Slide. Don't run. Throw the ball away. You've been in this league for 5 years now. Make the right decision. There's things we can control and there's things we cannot control, guys. But let's be honest. Why will you put yourself on the line? Sometimes it's not worth it. But I'm going to tell you something. For Dolphin fans, we have run out of excuses. We don't want to hear no more excuses. We got to stop using the injury report as excuses. Because if that's the case, look at the Chiefs. If that's the case, look at the Detroit Lions. If that's the case, look at the Minnesota Vikings. If that's the case, look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. If that's the case, look at the Baltimore Ravens. All those NFL teams have injuries. So, yes, I understand key players. Yes, I understand the best player. But once again, why do you have a 53-man roster? To put him in the sideline, hands crossed, and watch the whole entire game? Come on, guys. Enough is enough. For the Dolphins, win now, season's over. Plain and simple. And what's going to happen to all these fans? Here we go again. The same old thing. Year after year. Unfortunately, this is so true. And I'm not using it as an excuse. But Miami has been hit with the injury bug since McDaniel got there. Now, I'm not saying when Flo was there, they had injuries. But guess where? In the defensive side. And that kind of weird. I mean, I know both sides, but more on the defensive side. And now, McDaniel comes in. And not to blame McDaniel, because you can't blame an injury for McDaniel. Okay, 2 winning season, 2 playoff exits. Because we're going to say, well, we can't win. Yeah, but what happened this year? And that's another subject we could talk another day. When people know what you've been doing for the last 2 years, it's time to change. It's time to change, guys. If you've done it for 2 years in a row and you haven't learned from it and you haven't changed it and you haven't done nothing about it, that's one thing I tell everybody. You have to learn that. Okay? I got to change this offensive line. I got to do something to build this offensive line. And if we don't do that, guys, every defense out there is going to catch us what we're doing. But anyhow, thank you so much for joining in, tuning in. Remember, SNJ Sports Night with Jorge. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. For those that have subscribed, give me the thumbs up, the like, leave your comments. Guys, one thing I'm going to tell you, when I go live chat, be sure that you have your bell notification on. Some of you guys don't have it. Most of my live chat goes to my subscribers. I try to do it public. I'm not there for long. I would like to communicate with you guys, talk to you guys, know you guys better. Like I say, I got 173 subscribers. Thank you so much that have subscribed. It's a great channel. I mean, it's a learning experience. Once again, I tell you, it for me, I'm enjoying it. I do have a full-time job, but hopefully down the road, this will continue and I can have my regular sports channel, which it is a channel of sports, and talk about everything. We talk about baseball, football, basketball. Season started. I'm a Laker fan. They won. It was very emotional seeing LeBron James, his son, play the first game in NBA history. Things like that, man. That's awesome. I look at that. Then you got hockey, the Florida Panthers. Already started. So it's a lot to talk to. Now we got baseball playoff, or maybe actually baseball World Series, Yankees and Dodgers, the old days again. So, but anyhow, a word of encouragement, man. A word of encouragement. Always, always smile. Always, whatever you're going through, stay positive. Okay? We're living we could say, a tough time now, a tough society. Look at the world. Okay, but guess what? Focus on you. First of all, focus on him up there. Focus on you and focus on your family. It's the most important thing. Because you know what? At the end of the day, man, you want to end up with your kids, your family, your wife, your daughters, your sister. That's important. That's the most important thing. Sports, remember I told you, just to entertain me, just to have fun. If we don't have sports, what else we could talk about? But anyhow, thank you so much for joining in. You guys have a blessed night, and see you guys soon. And take care. Don't forget tonight, Monday Night Football, Minnesota and the Rams. Take care.